need to go back to the beginning, to the first part of the 19th century, and a man named John Nelson Darby. Known as the father of dispensationalism, J.N. Darby was born in London, England in 1800. He was an honors student at Westminster and later studied law at Trinity College. Upon graduation, he was admitted to the Irish bar, but soon left to pursue more spiritual matters. In 1826, he was ordained a priest in the Church of Ireland and immersed himself in the culture of Anglicanism. Eventually, however, his commendable desire for a deeper knowledge of Christ and biblical truth led him to become disillusioned with the Church of England and its dry religious formality. Not long after becoming disenchanted with the Anglican Church, an event occurred that was to redirect the course of his life and service to God. Darby biographer W.G. Turner notes, "About this time, between 1827 and 1828, Darby fell from his horse, and while convalescing in Dublin, he came into contact with the little band of original brethren."
There was a concept that the early church, the pure church, disintegrated and was lost very quickly by the end of the 2nd century. And it was only until the 19th century that certain people such as Thomas Campbell and Joseph Smith and J.N. Darby and, of course, the Jehovah's Witness founder, Charles Taze Russell, and others said, I am the one who's been called upon by God to raise up the true church for the latter days.
Inspired by the genuine piety and zeal of the brethren, Darby made his official break with the Church of England. He began fellowshipping with the brethren, meeting in homes for prayer and the study of scriptures, and quickly became one of its leaders and staunchest advocates. As the movement grew, it came to be known as the Plymouth Brethren. Author and former dispensationalist William E. Cox explains, Darby referred to the church as the Brethren. The headquarters for the printing of the Brethren was in Plymouth. Thus it followed naturally for this new denomination to be called Plymouth Brethren, and the name stuck. In 1831, Darby attended a symposium hosted by Lady Theodosia Powerscourt, herself a woman of great piety and influence in the Brethren movement. The theme was Bible prophecy. Up until this point, Darby still held to the amillennial position taught by the Church of England. The Powerscourt meeting was to revolutionize Darby's view on prophecy, as the new developments that were popping up among the brethren were given free expression. Not only did Darby introduce a new hermeneutic, method of interpretation, and draw a sharp distinction between the church and Israel. For the first time, at least in popular form, Darby taught a pre-tribulation rapture.
Dispensationalism is an interpretive system that was created in the 1830s by a man by the name of John Nelson Darby. And the objective of this so-called theological structure is to partition the Bible, along with its teachings on salvation, into 7 different time periods, or what they would refer to as dispensations.
And it basically allows them to cut up the Bible so that they can put certain scriptures into certain dispensations that either do or don't apply to us today.
2 Timothy 2:15 says, "Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." And they claim that 2 Timothy 2:15 is an instruction to basically isolate the Bible into 7 different time periods and modify salvation based upon those dispensations.
Only sections of the Bible apply to us today, and other sections apply to other dispensations.
You see, the Bible is divided. Old Testament, New Testament. There's the end.
You may think like, well, what's the big deal if people think that God worked with man at different times and different ages? And here's what you need to understand. Dispensationalism is literally the backbone that props up most of the heresy that is taught today by fundamentalist Christians, by conservative Christians.
For example, throughout the scriptures, we see that salvation has always been the same. David was saved by faith. Abraham was saved by faith. Romans 3:28 says, "Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law." But what does dispensationalism do? It seeks to change that.
So when you ask the question, is dispensationalism that big of a deal? The answer is yes. This doctrine needs to be exposed because of the fact it promotes so many false doctrines.
In Defense of Israel will shake Christian theology. It scripturally proves that the Jewish people as a whole did not reject Jesus as Messiah. It will also prove that Jesus did not come to earth to be the Messiah. It will prove that there was a Calvary conspiracy between Rome, the high priest, and Herod to execute Jesus as an insurrectionist too dangerous to live. Since Jesus refused by word and deed to claim to be the Messiah, how can the Jews be blamed for rejecting what was never offered? Read it in this shocking expose in Defense of Israel.